Once you've closed the project, you've finished. Congratulations. It's been a lot of hard work and the day was a success. You're almost finished now. The next step is to update HOT. Make sure you've recorded your impact and send a thank you email to all of your volunteers. You can access HOT through the admin tool at admin.handsonbayarea.org and update attendance marking everyone has attended or not. The access instructions for HOT are on page 4 in your Project Leadership Guide. On this same page, you have the option to send an automatic email to all of your volunteers on the HOT page. You should do this to thank all the volunteers and to quantify what they did in that specific day. Remember to summarize the impact they made and remind them how they got involved, how they can get involved further at hoba.org. They also have an opportunity to share any pictures and stories from the day and post it on Hoba Voices. Thank you, volunteers, and congratulate yourself on a job well done. As the project leader, you are there to manage the volunteers. Make sure everyone is working safely and participating in tasks they feel comfortable with. You should make sure that every volunteer has a job to do and are happy and busy doing it. PLs should split up and manage different sections of the project. If there's a lot of distance between different groups of volunteers, it might even be useful to have one person be a floater PL and go between different groups to make sure everything is running smoothly. If you see a group of volunteers who are not working, find a task that is well suited for them. The day of the project will have a very similar breakdown for each specific Be the Change Day project. At around 7:38, you should arrive and set up. Depending on your project, arrive at the site between 1 to 2 hours early. Check in with your nonprofit representative and go over the task one last time. Make sure to coordinate with the other project leader team members, your HOBA staff or board representative, and the nonprofit partner. At around 8:30, 8:45, registration will begin. Set up the registration tables, have volunteers sign in and make a name tag, have some coffee, tea, and pastries, and collect minor waivers. Again, the minor waivers will be available on the BeTheChangeDay.org resources page and will also be sent to you with your sign-in sheet, or available with your sign-in sheet on HOT. At 8:45, you'll do your kickoff. You'll introduce your nonprofit partner contact. You'll give your elevator speech. You'll begin the 9/11 Season of Service tribute and read off the specific sheet that you need to go over. You'll explain the tasks and information about your project, like where are the bathrooms, what are the volunteers going to be doing, any housekeeping issues. You'll allow the volunteers to select which task they'd like to go to, and then you'll split up. When you're allowing them to select the task, make sure to identify the number of volunteers that you'll need and any specific information that might be opportune to what the projects they'll be doing. At 9 a.m., volunteering will begin. Project leader team members should split up to supervise different task groups as needed. You'll make sure volunteers are happy, busy, and taking breaks when needed. There will be water and snacks available. And you'll want someone to be going through and making sure that if it's a hot day or if people are taking breaks when they should. At 11:30 a.m., you'll clean up. You'll tell your volunteers to finish their tasks and begin putting tools and materials away and picking up trash they've generated. At around noon, you'll begin closing and reflection. This is the time when you'll have a chance to bring in the second part of your reflection, where you ask the volunteers to do a moment of silence. This should be around noon, 12:30. Noon will be when you're finishing the close up and cleaning everything up and making sure everything's going well. 12:30 will be the last check-in with all the volunteers. You'll gather everyone. You'll make sure that people have come together. They put their tools away. They are ready to stop, and you'll go through the reflection where volunteers will have a moment to reflect on what it means that we're dedicating this to Season of Service and to 9/11 anniversary. And once this is over, you'll have completed a wonderful day as a Be the Change Day project leader, and you've had a successful project on Be the Change Day. And thank your team for doing a great job in development and leadership. The closing section of your project is very important. You can refer to page 15 in your project leader guide to describe how you should close your Be the Change Day project. Before you close, you should have contacted your nonprofit partner to wrap up by speaking about the importance of the work completed for them. In your closing, you will emphasize that volunteering makes a real difference. You should identify who has benefited from their work. When preparing your closing remarks, you should have researched and spoken to your nonprofit partner to see exactly who will be benefiting from your work today. It is wonderful at the end of a project for volunteers to know exactly who will benefit from their work, so they can put a face on the work that they've done today. You should quantify what was accomplished. It's good to put these things into a numeric value. For example, if you're working on collecting trash, you can explain that volunteers as a group collected 80 bags of trash. You should encourage volunteers to attend a HOBA project throughout the year. If your site doesn't have a regular calendar project event, mention related ones or ones you lead regularly. This is a great way to get some more volunteers to your HOBA projects. And finally, you should encourage volunteers to post stories and photos from the day on HOBA Voices. At this point, you should also remember to close the project using the 9/11 commemoration guidelines. These guidelines can be found on the HOBA Voices webpage under Resources in the Be the Change Day 2011 group. You should thank all for coming out and participating in the service tribute on the specific day. At this moment, you should also ask for all to observe a moment of silence to reflect on those who lost their lives on 9/11. You can then go on to ask each of the volunteers what impact that day had on their lives. After this, the PL will observe a 10 to 15 second of silence and invite any willing participants to speak. For larger groups, this may just be 10 to 15 seconds of silence, but if there's a smaller group with individuals who would like to talk, this is an opportunity where they're able to reflect on the day's work and on what it means that we're commemorating the anniversary of 9/11. The reflection incorporated in the closing and the beginning are both going into specific guidelines that HOBA has to meet to fulfill our grant for Season of Service and the 9/11 Day of Remembrance. Season of Service does incorporate Be the Change Day, and as a result, we are responsible to make sure that all of the projects have a specific reflection that goes through the commemoration guidelines. So this is the real reason that HOBA is doing this specific reflection. And also a good way to get volunteers thinking about what's important and what the work they're doing is dedicated to.